Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Goonies World. I am Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean, and with me, as always, is Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Hello, everybody.
And, of course, the eponymous Goonie, also known as Colin.
Hello.
And we're back for our second game of Quest that Ryan is going to run us through.
Yes, we are indeed. And you, Numinous and Sir Han Duran, had just sort of befriended, you might say, a door, a giant stone door, who had told you some riddles, which you eventually got right. First, you had hurt its feelings quite badly, I'm afraid, but apologized, fortunately, and that seemed to cheer it up. But it did open and allowed you to pass into the cavernous caves. So it's a pretty short walk up the cavernous tunnel, and you were spit out into a vast chamber with chasms, farther than you can see, and there are glowing stalactites and stalagmites sticking out everywhere. And there's like a path, an almost maze-like path winding through this large chamber all the way over to the opposite side, where you see another large door, and you obviously aren't sure whether this door will be as friendly or even as sentient as the last. But this is clearly the path you're going to want to take. And it's only really wide enough for you to go, in a single file, like one at a time. So who's going to go first?
I think Sir Han Duran should go first.
Of course, I will go first, and I will take out my sword and lead the way, and you stay close, young Numi.
I'll be right behind you, and I will make sure that my Quiplasher that I've got, my brand new Quiplasher, is well in hand. Hey, what's on either side of the path? Is it just like a path through rubbly landscape, or is it like a drop-off on either side, or they're kind of partial walls, or what are they like?
It's it depends. There's boulders and rubble to the sides on some cases, and yes, in other cases it's just a sheer drop down into this seemingly bottomless chasm. And at some spots there, the path is bordered by these stalagmites, jutting up out of the floor as well.
Okay. I forgot that last episode I got a goat, and we named him Billy. So I think actually Billy should go first, and then we could be right behind him.
Okay.
I don't know if he's gonna go off on his own somewhere, but if it's pretty narrow, then he'll probably just go straight, I'm assuming.
Well, so hopefully he'll stay on the path, and hopefully he won't go off the path, but hopefully he won't go on the path, because then we might step in it. Sorry, I'm just practicing for the Quiplasher.
So you set Billy off on this path, and he does do a pretty good job of sticking to the path. It's a pretty obvious path, and it's would be difficult to get too far off of it anyway, due to either the sheer drop or the boulders or the stalagmites or whatever. And you follow him for a few steps, and then you hear the unmistakable flapping of wings, and a great number of bats fly down from the ceiling.
Fear not.
No,
And they're flying right through. I mean, it's right through your faces, basically. And Billy seems unfazed, but it's gonna knock you guys off balance a bit.
Steady.
How would you like to deal with this? Because you're at some risk of course, falling into the chasm.
I'm going to grab onto, almost like a chokehold, but not on purpose. Like I'm going to reach around. I'm behind hand. I'm going to reach around his neck, with one arm that I'm not holding the quiplasher with, and tremble against your back, which is probably not going to make anything easier for you.
Yeah. I would like to kind of just kneel down on one knee just to lower my center of gravity and get close to the ground so I have less chance of being wobbly. Just wait for wait for it to pass.
I think those both sound like good plans. Why don't Numinous? Why don't you roll and see
All right.
if you were able to maintain your balance?
I will.
Clutching Sirhan.
And I got a plan B if this doesn't work, but I got a 15, which is in the success range. No compromise.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
And so, you successfully managed to, balance yourself against Sirhan. And Sirhan, would you roll as well, please, and see how your kneeling plan pans out?
Well, I don't have that chart in front of me, but I'm pretty sure this is a failure. I rolled 3.
Yep.
Ooh. So you kneel down, and but the bats don't seem to care too much, and you've got, of course, Numinous
choking you,
wrapped around you. What are you holding in your hand?
Just my sword, I believe.
Uh-oh.
So, you are either going to have to, swing your sword at these bats and, to get them away from your face, and unfortunately wing it into the chasm, or trying to think of another setback.
Lose the weapon or take damage. If you don't mind, a suggestion from the Peanut Gallery. I think it's in the spirit of the rules.
No, I don't mind at all, and I think taking 1 point of damage from the bats' little claws.
Oh, I'd take the damage.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I will just rather than risk losing my sword, he'll just take it. Just kind of grit his teeth, and hopefully they'll move on soon.
Just like a man.
All right. Well, you take the damage and the cloud of bats.
I'll scream for both of us.
The cloud of bats does indeed dissipate once you've absorbed that point of damage.
Yeah.
And so you stand back up and proceed along the
Didn't even feel
path. And you've let, or I don't know if let is the right word, or made, or forced perhaps might be more appropriate, but Billy to take point. And Billy steps
on a landmine.
So you're at a... Yeah, on a landmine. It explodes and dies. No. But he does take a step, and you're at a point in the path where it's narrow, and there's no handrails. I mean, it's just down into the chasm on either side. And you hear a soft click as Billy takes a step, but Billy doesn't seem to notice this.
Billy. Halt, Billy. You've set up a damn trap, I think.
Okay. I'm going to say make a roll to see if you were successful in getting Billy to stop. He is a new goat, after all. He may not be used to taking orders.
All right. Well, that time I rolled a 16.
Success.
All right. Well, Billy does stop, and he's now standing on presumably some sort of pressure plate. But if he moves off of it, and there's no way. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, there's not like you can go around him. Maybe you could jump over him. Or maybe I don't know. It's up to you guys how you're going to deal with this.
Okay. Now, don't move a muscle, Billy. Now, we'll think this through. Now, so I'm assuming, yeah, we can tell that it's a pressure plate, just by looking at it.
Yeah, and once you've stopped Billy and you get down, you can kind of actually see it, yes. But, of course, it seems that stepping on it hasn't caused anything to happen, but
once he steps
it may
off,
be that once he steps off, something might happen, right?
Now, we just need to look around. Is there something heavy? Do you see any loose rocks in reach?
Like a rock approximating the mass of a goat, you mean?
Or anything that's heavy enough to keep this plate down, or at least the weight of the goat.
Yeah, that's a good plan, actually. I'll take a look around left to right, see if I can see anything nearby, or maybe a little bit back a ways.
So left and right is just the chasm at this point of the path, but if you go back a ways, yeah, you can find a pretty good-sized boulder. I mean, it's not going to be as heavy as, a full adult goat, but it should be heavy enough to keep the plate down anyway.
Well, should be is good enough for me. I'll heft that bad boy up and carry it back over to the pressure plate.
Yes, that's good.
All right, so you do that, and
now carefully place it on the plate before Billy gets off it.
Well, maybe you should place it, and I'll go stand back over there.
Yes, you observe my behavior, and hopefully you will learn something. I've trying to help you gain some confidence, by taking you under my wing, so to speak.
Okay,
so
be careful.
Don't worry. So he'll take the rock and set it on the plate. Make sure it's on there fully, and then he'll pat Billy on the butt, and see if he, get him to move off, and then kind of like turn away from the plate, just in case there's like a big blast or something.
Okay, well, why don't you make a roll and we'll see how that goes.
13.
Success.
Yeah, okay. So that appears to have gone swimmingly well. You place the rock and give Billy a little pat, and he steps off the plate, and nothing happens. So it appears you've been very successful.
Yes, now I think it might be wise to leave for Billy to perhaps be either in between or behind. Can't afford anything like that happening again. Billy's just not wise to traps of any kind.
Well, he can walk back here behind me.
But there's not a lot of room, so he'll have to pass through our legs to get to the back. We'll walk over him.
Okay.
So you can do a little rearranging here, and
little shuffling.
So now the marching order sounds like it's going to be Han followed by Numinous, followed by Billy?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
All right. Very well. So you proceed with Sir Han running point. And I mentioned, of course, that the light in this room is being provided by these sort of glowing stalagmites and stalactites that are just jutting out from the ceiling and floor everywhere. The light begins dimming and dimming and dimming, and then you have to stop because it's too dark. You can't see to continue.
Well, not for long, because for 0 AP, I'm going to conjure a light, a flickering flame in my hand, and I'll hold the hand out high up so it'll shine down over Sir Han Duran's head. And it may not illuminate this entire cavern, but at least our little globe, hopefully.
It will illuminate certainly at least the immediate path in front of Sir Han. So.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's,
Yes,
some trick.
I have certain talents. Just bravery isn't one of them. Like zoinks, we can't see anything in here.
And almost sensing that this challenge was too easy for you, the room, this cavern, also suddenly begins filling with a dense fog, which makes it even more difficult to see. Although, again, it's not, you can't see very far in front of you, but you can see far enough to safely proceed.
How does fog get inside of a mountain, I wonder?
It's magic fog.
And you proceed forward for some time. And suddenly, right in front of you, a stalactite falls from the ceiling, smashes into the path, and destroys it, creating like a, large gap over this yawning chasm.
Certainly are a lot of obstacles.
Does it look like it's jumpable, or is it too big for that?
Yeah, I mean, you get a nice, a nice running jump could probably clear it. You have to make a roll, of course.
Anything above our heads that is low enough that I could maybe hit with the Quiplasher and do an Indiana Jones over it? Or is there nothing that low?
That's a good
Could be a
question.
Yeah,
I think that is sufficiently clever that there should be.
Should be a long stalactite hanging down or something you can whip onto.
There is one.
We can swing across.
Okay, watch this. Before I criticize a man, I like to walk a mile in his shoes. That way, when I do criticize him, I'm a mile away, and I have his shoes. And at that quip, my whip lashes out, and hopefully will carry me across. And I will now roll my dice. And, oh no, failure!
Goodbye, young Numi.
I got a 5.
What did you, got a 5.
I got in the upper range of failure.
Yeah, that's true.
So...
You succeeded at failing.
Yeah, I know, I did.
So, either you slip off the quiplash, and you're going to end up like hanging onto the edge of this ledge, and your quiplash, I'm assuming, is probably what may be retrievable, or it may just fall into the chasm.
Yeah.
But either way, I think Sir Han is going to have to save your bacon.
So, is his is the whiplash or whatever it's called still hanging? Like, could I reach out and grab it, or is it like kind of hanging in the middle of the thing? Or?
Well, so the alternative, so the quiplash will be
hard to get,
attached to the stalactite.
Yeah.
It will be tricky to get, and Numinous is going to be like hanging off the ledge, or Numinous could be, on the other side safely, but just lands hard and takes a couple damage.
Yeah, I landed on my knees, like real bad, and I got sensitive knees, and I take some damage. So I don't want to lose the Quiplasher. I got like 30 jokes written down.
All right. Well, why don't you take a couple points of damage then? You land hard on your knees on the opposite side.
Oh.
And Sir Han, how would you like to cross this divide?
Meanwhile, I'm over there doing that thing with the knee. When you hurt your knee, you're like,
Yeah, Peter Griffin.
Yeah, Peter Griffin thing rolling around.
Let me ponder a moment. I think I wouldn't even entertain the idea of you throwing your quiplash over here for me to use and then, potentially losing it. It's yours, and it should only be used by you. I will think of another way.
You're just not funny either. I'm sorry.
I know of no jokes whatsoever. I think Billy could give me a hand somehow. Billy can jump very far. Maybe I can ride Billy.
You can try it.
Use the goat to jump the chasm. Jump the chasm on the back of a goat. I love it.
They are very sure-footed, and if it is, I think Billy is a strong goat, aren't you, Billy?
Maybe he's one of those like screaming goats, or one of those fainting goats.
Yeah. Well, I hope he's not one of those. I think they have what do you call it when you fall? Narcolepsy, or something like that, where when they get excited or anything, they just instantly pass out. So hopefully he's not very excitable. And I think we'll try it. I'll try, sitting, mounting Billy and see how it takes at first. See how he responds.
At first he doesn't seem to care for it, as you can imagine.
Easy now, boy.
He seems to get used to it, and you get the idea, you get the sense that he's, he understands what you want him to do in terms of getting him over the gap here.
Okay, now, Billy, back up a little bit, get a running start, and off we go.
All right, give me a roll.
I got my fingers crossed on the other side.
Fly, Billy, fly! 8.
Tough choice.
Yeah. Your weight, unfortunately, makes it difficult for Billy to get a solid jump. So, I think either Billy falls into the chasm and is gone forever, and you are left hanging on the side of the cliff, needing to be rescued by Numinous, or somebody's going to have to take a bunch of damage.
Yeah,
a bunch
me
of
or
damage.
you.
Oh, yeah.
First, I thought it'd be
I'm
funny
assuming
if-
it'd be.
First, I thought it'd be
Landed
funny if
on
Billy
you?
like rammed into me or landed on me, but I don't want to take anymore. I think you should like get racked on his spinal cord.
I
Or
think
we could lose Billy.
I don't want to lose Billy just yet. We only got him, seems like not too long ago, and I'm not afraid of taking damage. I do have some ability to heal myself, so I will take that damage.
All right. Well, you land hard on the opposite side near Numinous and rack the family jewels on Billy's spine for 2 points of damage.
1 per ball. Each of your balls takes 1 damage.
Yes. Give me a minute. Well, I'm across. That's all that matters.
You are across.
I wasn't planning on having children, so that's okay.
So finally, you come to a rickety-looking wooden bridge
Here we
over
go
the
again.
chasm, leading to the door. But I mean, it's it looks pretty dodgy, but the gap here is too far to jump, so you're gonna have to take the bridge. But there's no roll required. It's just a bit nerve-wracking, perhaps, particularly for like Numinous. Billy doesn't seem to give a shit, obviously, but I can imagine Numinous is like white-knuckled gripping on the rope,
Oh yeah.
rope, railing, so to speak,
And I'm grimacing.
and grimacing as well.
I fear.
And that leads you to another great stone door. This one does not seem to have a face or personality or indeed be sentient at all. So
I didn't want any
That's
lip
good.
from any doors today.
Yeah. And I didn't want any more riddles. I'm not very good at them.
Oh, you are much better than you give yourself credit for. In fact, I think you are right. From the very start, it should have
I
been
know.
Mushroom Cap.
Mushroom should have counted. It has a cap.
Yes. Well,
so
is there a door handle or knob or anything?
yes, you can pull it open, and that presents you with a small tunnel with light, sort of what is clearly sunlight beaming in at the end of the tunnel.
Appears we've reached the very end of this challenge already, and it was not so difficult.
Yeah, we're mighty. We're very mighty. Let's go out into the bright sun and bask in its brilliance.
We will collect our reward, and this will be the end of it.
So, yeah, you proceed through the tunnel and out into the sunlight, and you come out at the base of a massive forest. Well, and by massive I mean the trees are massive. I mean they're so tall. I mean I don't know if you guys have been to like Northern California, but these trees are taller than those like redwoods and stuff. I mean they're just you can't even see where they end. But there is a path here, like almost like a boardwalk type wooden path built into the forest floor, and periodically there are these little lit lamps sort of hanging on either side of the path, as though this was like prepared for you. This wooden path appears to just spiral up into the forest, and you begin to follow it. And the forest almost evokes this sense of contentment, peace. You can see little chipmunks and squirrels and stuff, and rabbits all over the place, climbing up the trees and darting across your path as you are walking through the forest here. And it smells nice and piney and vegetal. After about an hour of climbing through this forest, you're walking up a hill, basically, right? It's kind of a spirally path, almost like switchbacks. After about an hour, it feels like you're probably about halfway, but you're pretty exhausted. It's a pretty arduous hike.
Whew.
So you spend a few minutes catching your breath and getting a little rest from this pretty grueling climb. And Numinous, you notice there's a small branch on a nearby tree with some kind of odd-looking leafy green sprouts on it that don't really match. This is definitely a pine forest, and these are not sort of pine leaves. They look more like,
Those are broad leaves.
Oak leaves or something.
Oh. Yeah.
And then you notice, and it's almost too faint to even see, but you notice that there are several like glowing wisps sort of floating around this branch.
Well, I probably can trust my intuition on this, but I'm going to go ahead and spend the 1 AP to use my magic eye to see if this branch and leaves are under the effect of magic.
Yes. And as you are doing that, a figure emerges from the tree trunk and begins walking towards you. And this person looks like they're literally like made of bark, with a tunic made of moss. And this person approaches you and says, "Well, hello."
Hello. I'm standing
Hello?
behind Handaran.
What sort of creature are you?
I am the Elder Warden. My name is Leah. What is your name? What are your names? And where are you from? Why are you here?
My name is Sir Han Duran, and this is Numinous Glocks.
Close enough. Glokes.
And we are taking part in a sort of treasure-seeking challenge. And it has led us to these woods.
I see.
Yeah, do you
So
know
you
of...
come seeking treasure.
Yeah, do you know of any?
Well, I have none. No.
If you've never heard of any sort of treasure in these parts?
Well, we do not have need of such things.
You do not value gold and jewelry and that sort of things?
No. We merely value nature and this forest.
Well, I don't value those things in and of themselves, only what it can give me. You see, I'm trying to find a place I could call my own, a little corner of the world. That's why we're seeking this treasure, and Handuran is my mentor and protector and guide.
Yes,
But
and I was hoping that along the way I could teach you some of my wisdom, and that is why I agreed. I care not so much for the treasure. I am on a quest of my own, you could say. But, go ahead, young Numi. You have a question for this creature?
I was just going to ask him if, or Leah, or whatever your pronoun is, Leah. I want to be respectful. Leah, have other adventurers come through this way looking for treasure? Do you see travelers often on this beautiful boardwalk, lamplit path to this lovely forest, if I might say?
It is not often we see adventurers here, no. And my pronouns are they, them, by the way.
Okay, thank you. It's good to know. So are mine.
I'm confused, and I don't like it.
It's a common reaction to these things at first. Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
Well, Leah, do you have any issue with us continuing on our way through these woods in search of our treasure? Because if you were to block our way and halt our progress, I do have a sword here that I am anxious to use.
No, I have no intention of causing you any trouble or interfering with your treasure-seeking quest.
Can you help us or aid us in any way?
Well, possibly.
Ooh,
But-
how?
Well, first of all, let me say that as long as you do not harm this forest, you have nothing to fear from me. But it seems to me that you are merely selfish, self-interested in this treasure. And, I have no interest in such things myself, of course. So I see no reason to help you.
Well, what if I was going to start a school for homeless children? Because I was going to find a place for my own after I started this school for homeless children.
Well, that does sound very noble, but I have no interest in such human affairs, I'm afraid. As long as the children at the school don't, have books that are made of trees.
No,
What?
It's going to be a slate-only school.
What if I told you that perhaps we could start a school for young tree boys or
tree people, please.
I'm sorry, I'm still learning. Tree things and we could and then would you perhaps care about that enough to help us?
Well, I do not feel like my people need human educations.
Well, we have some things to teach you, but perhaps you are correct. Maybe we can teach ourselves. No, maybe our peoples should learn from each other.
Well,
And,
first of all, I think that Treefolk is good nomenclature. I like Treefolk, and I say we go with Treefolk if that's okay with you, Leah. And second of all, Leah, I just wish I could convince you that my motives aren't selfish. I'm trying to seek a place in the world I can call my own, not to be the lord of it, but to find peace. In fact, I was thinking as I walked through your beautiful forest how I might like to have in my little domain a lovely walkway like this and beautiful trees. And so I didn't think of it as being selfish at all, just trying to find a peaceful place in the world, school or no school. But that's okay. And then I'll hang my shoulders dejectedly and try to look sad to manipulate them.
And of course, I always had a noble quest in mind, for I seek redemption, and I seek salvation for myself through helping others and teaching this young boy, whatever you are,
I'm
something.
30.
Well, I
I'm
meant
younger.
your
I'm younger than you.
pronouns. Is that what you call?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I, you see, once was part of the army of a great empire that I'm afraid to say did very horrible things.
You committed war crimes?
Yes, I am guilty of very horrible war crimes. And my God spoke to me, told me the error of my ways, and I needed to make up for it for the rest of my mortal life. So that is what I do.
You never opened up like this before.
I do not speak... Well, that's not true. I probably speak more than I should, but... Yes, my God speaks only to me.
Well, says Leah, it sounds like perhaps you should get on your way to your treasure. I wish you the best of luck. Perhaps if you had said something about wanting to defeat the trickster, I might have helped you, she says, and then disappears back into the tree.
Well, we forgot about the trickster. It's been a week.
I thought you were the trickster. You certainly tricked us.
We don't need Leah's help.
That's true, you probably don't, to be fair.
Yeah, completely worthless creature. Offered no value to us whatsoever.
Well, she gave you some good education. But, all right, well, carry on then, Han Duran. I'll be right behind you with Billy.
Yeah, very well.
So, you continue along the path. And, just a few minutes after you leave the area where you met with Leah, the path through the trees actually seems to narrow some. And you notice the trees in this area are covered by a strange green moss that was not present in other parts of the forest. And there's like weapons stuck into some of the tree trunks in this area. And you hear a loud creaking noise. And these mossy tentacles emerge from the trees and grab these weapons. And then these logs, essentially, with mossy tentacle limbs, lumber towards you, swinging these weapons at you.
Well, so I'm going to take the quipplasher in hand, and I'm going to say, I saw a woman in a chainmail bikini. You could see 90% of her body, but I'm a gentleman, so I only looked at the covered parts. And then I'll lash the Quiplasher and try to, hit this one of these great tentacles. Stay away, you!
All right. So make a roll there.
Oh, yeah. And here we go. And it's a 3 failure.
Oh. Well, all right. So this thing is going to counterattack with its with this hammer that it has, and it rolls an 11. Bam! So you take 2 points of damage.
Oh!
How dare you!
Pretty soon I'm going to be able to regroup. I'm not down to have hit points yet.
And what would you like to do, Sir Han?
I will unsheath my sword, and I will use my special ability of Fiery Avenger.
Ooh.
Which makes like a blue flame appear on my sword and gives me a +1 to damage until I fail on attack roll with this weapon. And I have to say a little phrase that I came up with. So I say, "Skylar be praised, with this phrase set my blade ablaze."
Nice. I love it.
Nice.
And I swing at one of these log creatures.
It's just the one.
One, all right. And I rolled a 14.
Bam! So it takes 2 points of damage, or 3 points actually, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Very good. So it takes 3 points. Well, this moss monster is going to attack you, Sir Han, and he rolls a 12.
You dare!
So he will deal 2 damage to you.
All right.
And then back around to Numinous once again.
I say, a guy tried to sell me a burial plot, and I thought this is the last thing I need. And a whip with my Quiplasher. And, I face a tough choice, though. I succeed, but there's a terrible cost. You're going to give me some setback choices.
Oh, yeah. So you will deal 2 damage to it. But then either it's going to get a counter attack on you and possibly do some damage to you, or I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
I could get it stuck in the tree, like behind you,
yeah, that's fair. And then you have to use a
maneuver to try to
maneuver to get it back.
Get it loose.
I like that.
I've only got 6 hit points, so I think I like that maneuver. Yeah, it's like, oh no, oh no. Maybe it's stuck on him, like it's wrapped around some twiggy part of him.
Wrapped around
his tentacle.
Yeah, it's his
mossy
log body.
Yeah.
All right, Sir Han.
I can't get it off, Han. Take him.
I will use a special ability of Shield and summon Magic Shield, which is a aura of soft light around my body, and it blocks 3 hit points of damage until I take more than that. Oh, and one.
Right.
Let me make sure in a single hit. So yeah.
So it blocks all damage until you take more than 3 in 1 hit?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, this thing is going to try to... Ooh. Well, he rolls a 2. So that, Sir Han, if you would be so inclined, would give you the opportunity to counterattack.
I will counter, yes. Ooh, man. I only rolled a 4.
All right, well, he's not going to counterattack your counterattack. So, Numinous, you want to get your Quiplasher
Yeah, I'm going to get my Quiplasher
dislodged?
Yeah, just in case, I have to make a quip to get it, limp enough to flick, I'm going to say, hey, the past, present, and future walked into a tavern. Things got a little tense. And, hey, I got a 14 this time.
All right, well, you have retrieved your weapon. And, Sirhan, would you like to attack this horrible moss creature?
Yes, I will. And I rolled a 15.
Bam, and you're still doing 3 damage every...
Yeah, until I fail with this weapon.
All right. So it takes... Oops, I threw my dice not on the floor this time, which is an improvement, but it is behind my laptop, and I can't get there. It is. Okay. All right, so this moss creature misses Numinous. And,
Woo!
All right, well, Numinous, you can attack it if you like.
Well, I had a few jokes about unemployed people, but none of them work. And whapa! And 18. Success. That'll be 3 points of damage. My Quiplash.
Oh, you're doing 3?
Yeah, I should have told you that earlier. The Quiplash does 3 damage. But I don't expect retroactive damage. It's my fault for not bringing it up.
All right. Well, this thing looks... If it had eyes, they would have the fear. Sirhan, do you think you can take it out?
Go back to the shadow plane, creature. And I rolled a 16.
All right. And with that additional 3 damage, this loggy, mossy creature collapses to the ground with its weapons clattering on the wooden path beneath your feet.
I don't like these woods anymore. Got unhelpful tree things everywhere.
Unhelpful bullies.
Yes. I'm sure you've had your full... You've had quite your helping of bullies in your day. I mean, just
sure
look
have.
at you.
I sure have.
You're just ripe for being bullied.
Hey,
I mean,
can't
with
help
your
it
with your gawky features.
No, I'm willowy and romantic. I'm not gawky.
Well, I'm just repeating what surely the bullies must have said. Your pointy beak nose and things like that.
I'm quite attractive. And if anyone wants to see my face, follow us on Twitter, where you can find our character sheets for this game.
Well, you continue on the path for some time, and eventually you come out of the forest into the bright sunlight, and you note that from the time you got here until now, the sun, it has been quite a while, but the sun appears to be in the exact same spot it was when you arrived. But you can see the tower rising rising into the sky off in the distance, partially concealed by these big fluffy clouds.
The Tower of the Trickster.
Indeed, the Trickster's Tower. And you take a step onto this sort of mountaintop plateau, and a huge shadow passes on the ground in front of you, and you look up and hear a terrifying screech as these massive wings briefly blot out the sun, and a massive eagle lands on the ground in front of you and glares at you threateningly. Now, it doesn't immediately attack or anything, but it does seem to have like this golden amulet tied around its neck, and its face is and body are just covered in scars. You can see spots where feathers are missing and stuff, and it's man-sized bird, and it's pretty terrifying to look at, really, with its huge, sharp beak and claws. But it doesn't immediately move to attack or anything. It just kind of stares at you with this menacing look on its face. And I think that's where we'll pick it up next time.
Okay then. All right, well then, I guess we will see you next time.
Hey everybody, if you like our podcast, don't forget to leave us a good rating and or review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or wherever you're able. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Goonies_world, and check out our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.